Hey guys, I'm Lee Taylor. That's the 2020 Hyundai Venue, and this is a Right Lane Review. So the idea of a venue is that it's a place of happenings. Things like shows, concerts, exhibitions, a focus point for the masses really, and a place to make beautiful memories. A venue generally has style, plenty of space, entertainment value, and lots of great story making. So this is Hyundai's entry into the light SUV segment. Basically, it's a compact high rider for running around town. And being square stance of decent size and pretty decent styling, it looks the part. I do have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with this grille though. Sometimes it kind of gives me this vibe of a character from my childhood that had a really small meerkat friend, and I flashed this problem.
Not in front of the kids.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry if you can't unsee that now. So in this active trim, you actually get quite a few standard features. So you have Hyundai Safety Sense Safety Suite, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, this beautiful option for this intense blue paint, the LED daytime running lights, and gorgeous 17-inch wheels. Overall, it's a pretty good deal. This car is only just under $25,000. So what's it like to drive the Hyundai Venue? Actually, it's a pretty good place to be. So the suspension's nice and sorted out. It's not too stiff, but it's not too soft. I wouldn't necessarily call it sporty, but you can definitely tell Hyundai spent some time developing it for Australian roads. The steering's actually nice and accurate. Not a ton of feedback, but again, not a sporty car. And the steering wheel feels really good in the hands. I think Hyundai does a really good job of making sure where the driver sits feels really nice. Everything's laid out nice and clear. It's actually quite well insulated, so when you're popping down the motorway around town, you don't get a ton of wind or tire noise, and you can turn the radio up and not have a problem. You do have 3 different drive modes, so you have normal, sport, and eco, and then you also have traction assist for mud, snow, and sand. I wouldn't take this car heavily off-road, but if you're just going out the trail to go kayaking or surfing, it's probably perfectly fine. My only big issue with the car as far as driving it for this week was the engine. So it's a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder unit. It makes about 90 kilowatts and around 140, 150 newton meters of torque, which aren't super impressive numbers and they're not really designed to be. But my problem with the engine is actually not the performance, but rather the refinement. So it feels a bit agricultural in here. It's a bit tractory. And when you first start it up, it sounds almost like it's a diesel. So it's not my favorite engine, but for $25,000, you can't really fault the platform. But overall, driving is really, really nice. You have a nice square stance, so the wheels are pushed out to the corners of this car, which means it's easy to maneuver and park. You can see out of it really well with all this glass, and the square edges also make it easy to see out in front of you and see where everything is. So if you're popping around town or spending most of your time in the metro area, it's super simple. If you're out in the bush, it also feels good because you can see what you're about to hit, or not hit, hopefully. We've been driving the car all week, roughly 216K so far, mostly around urban environments, and we've averaged 10.8 liters per 100K, which isn't terrible. Not great, but could be worse. So, the interior and tech on this Hyundai Venue. The interior styling I actually quite like. Hyundai does a really good job of making sure the interior looks stylish all the time, no matter the model. What gets them in the more expensive models is materials, but in this Venue, because of its price point, the materials actually feel really, really good. I dare say there's probably not that many $25,000 SUVs that feel as good as this car does on the inside. You get plenty of tech, including Hyundai Safety Sense, which includes lane keep assist, driver fatigue monitors, and things like that. You Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, as well as plenty of usable cubbies around the cabin, including this one next to the passenger for a phone or any other gear they might need. And for the driver, the position's really good. The seats are nice and comfortable, good and supportive. Good pattern in them actually. And I love this steering wheel. Hyundai does really good steering wheels. They always feel nice in the hand, the grip's in the right place, and even in this cheap car, you get a nice leather finish. So in the back seat of the Venue, it's pretty typical light SUV. So knee room, not the greatest, but I'm also 6 foot tall. Headroom's actually pretty good though. The nice square body means you can actually get quite comfortable in the back. Though too wide is probably enough for decent sized trips. I definitely wouldn't go 3 adults deep. But if you had kids, this is probably perfectly fine. And there's plenty of room for 2 full-size pooches. So out back in the Hyundai Venue, you actually have quite a lot of usable space. You have a nice deep boot. And the floor actually will move up to the top and back down if you want to put things underneath closer to the spare tire. The seats also fold down completely flat across the rear row, so there's plenty of usable space. And you get this nice trick shelf. So normal position, right? But if it's in your way or you need to put some plants in the back, just slide it down, you have even more space. So what's the tops, bottoms, and final verdict on the 2020 Hyundai Venue? Well, the bottom list is actually really short. I'm personally not a big fan of the engine transmission combo, but it can be overlooked based on the price, and the styling is either love or hate. Now, I didn't really care for the styling when I picked it up on Monday, but by the end of the week, I actually really grew to like it. And we all know Pumbaa was your favorite character anyway. Now, on the top, there's actually a long list. You get really good tech. It's really easy to use. You can tell Hyundai has spent a lot of time on this model as well as other models, developing them here in Australia. It's really cheap, 25 grand for this car. That's not a lot of money. And you get the traction aids, which we didn't get a chance to test out this week, but could probably be helpful on snow, sand, or mud. So what's my final verdict on the Venue? Well, for $25,000, you're gonna be hard pressed to find a car this good in the segment. Closest you're gonna get in a mainstream environment is gonna be a Mazda CX-3, and that would be the base model. So there's a beautiful green tick in that side of the Hyundai box. And it's a really good car. It feels nice and solid. It's obvious to me that Hyundai wants you to make memories in this car. The way it feels, the way it's designed, the way it looks, you can tell it's been engineered to involve people, which is exactly what a Venue does. So if you're out for a cheap runabout with some fun, or you want a really good first car, I think Hyundai might have an option for you. Cool. Take 5. Take 28. Take 38. Just kidding, it'll only take 2, 3.